I'm not sure how much that freight train wind will come across my mic, and I don't have my muffle on it again, so hopefully it's not too terrible. But we're in one of those weird days. It's really cold. It was like 14 degrees again this morning or something like that. 14, 15 degrees. The wind is a freight train. I'm talking 30, 40 mile an hour gusts, sustained like 10 to 15, 20 mile an hour winds. It's just been howling all this time. But the sun's out. Well, the sun's way down in the southern sky right now, but the sun's out. And when you stand in the sun, you get the warmth of the sun, but that wind is bitter across your body. So we're in this weird little, I stood in the shade so the light wouldn't be blinding me when I talk to you, but that's the kind of day we're at. It's I was waiting to see if some of this would clear off, but the wind isn't going away. I got stuff to do and timing, dragging my feet. Shouldn't drag your feet. But anyway, here we are. Gonna go try to take care of the pigs and our calf real quick and make sure everybody else is doing good. So, considering that we've got this wind to contend with today, and it's cold and bitter, and I'm in a bit of a hurry, I'm going to give us 3 quick strategies to prioritize Jesus during the Christmas season. And if you'll excuse the blowing wind and my heavy breathing, we didn't get any snow. I mean, we might have got 2 inches of snow or something. We didn't get any snow to speak of. But that field, completely barren. And because of the way this road is cut in here, this road is plugged full, 2 or 3 feet of snow depending on where you walk. But everywhere else is barren. There's no snow. It's all blown here. But that's what makes that difficult. And I know I've been carrying on about it a little bit. I've also been walking through it for 20 some odd years. So you'd think I do have snowshoes, and I haven't had to break the snowshoes out for a long time. But I used to get snowshoes to walk out. I used to walk way, you could walk snowshoes here, but you get the snowshoes on and walk way out there to get out back. And those buildings out there have concrete floors, and they're just bigger and better buildings. But we can move things closer here to the house now, and that's what we're going to do just as soon as I get the opportunity. I want to say first, before we get into the 3 strategies that we're going to talk about today, is that we must be grounded in prayer. We must bring ourselves to prayer first, and our motivation must not be self. It must be on God. It must be on bringing God glory through these actions. Self must go away, and we must put our attention on God and pursuing Christ during this season in order for any of these things to give us any kind of relief from the world, that we might pursue Jesus properly and prioritize him properly through this Christmas season. I just wish I had a different mic. I need to get a mic that kind of booms a little bit, or directional or something. I'm not sure that these little mics can pick up the howl of that wind as it clips over the top of this hill. It's the top of these trees. It's just a freight train, dude. Just a freight train. See, now, in my exhaustion yesterday, I thought the cows had enough hay to let them go another little bit. So I didn't plan on the road being jam-packed again, which I should have, but they saw the old feed bucket, and they're in the alleyway, and there's just an electric fence up there. It's not super high, and I'm just curious if they're gonna come through it to try to get to me. So I can't get down there to feed the pigs like that. I'm gonna have to distract them. Now, these old girls over here, they're on a different fence, so they don't know where they're even going. But I'm gonna have to trick them girls, because look, that calf already probably gonna go up there and test it. Cause me trouble. Yep. That's going to be bad. We're going to turn that thing around. Listen to that old wind howling. Whew. Take a little shelter from the wind. Not so much for my sake as the microphone might appreciate it a little more. And you guys might be able to hear a little more about what I'm trying to say. But 3 strategies for prioritizing Jesus during Christmas. And you could go through a whole bunch, and I just chose 3 here to kind of give us some focus as we approach Christmas here in another 2 weeks. We got to find ways to serve others. Volunteer, donate, just help a neighbor. Find ways to serve others and separate ourselves from the secular world. Stop doing things the way the world does them. And if we want to put Christ back in Christmas, we serve. He came to serve. He came to free us. Well, let's free someone from their burden. Let's help them from, volunteer at a homeless shelter or a kitchen, or donate clothes to some charity, or donate food to some charity. Deer hunters, I just saw that a place wanted 10 deer donated. They were going to volunteer the processing on that to help feed the hungry during this season. And you can just help a neighbor. People help me all the time. Help me get the hay out of the field and help me move things around. What can we do to serve others at Christmas time with Christ as the focus? I outsmarted them old cows. The one I had to walk a ways around to get there, but the piggies got their feed, and I didn't cause a ruckus with the cows. Now, it might cause a ruckus going back out of here. Hopefully they don't charge through the fence then. But for now, we got where we wanted to be. Now, I've sort of talked about it already with our old Christmas tradition, but that isn't such a rebellion against, commercial Christmas or material items. That's just sort of something we enjoy. But there is something to be said to move beyond material gifts. I often say, what does our family even need anymore? But we have everything. We've been blessed so well. We have everything. What could I possibly need for a gift? So it's probably time to move beyond material gifts and, maybe make a handmade gift or have an experience. We've often talked about going somewhere and celebrating Christmas as a family instead of exchanging gifts. And that would be great. It's beyond a material thing and something that you're going to cherish in your memory. So move beyond material gifts and have an experience. Make a handmade gift. Find something different. Search in yourself and say, what can I do different than just going and buying the trinket off the shelf and just blandly giving something to somebody? Make it have meaning behind it. And I got to be perfectly honest with you. After that ordeal of rolling that hay yesterday, that soaked hay, and knowing that it's froze inside and out and to the ground and everything else, I got no appetite for rolling hay. So the cows are probably going to have to come to the hay this time, because I know I ain't got the energy for it this time. Look at this old abandoned greenhouse. You don't put it in use for a few years and you use it for storage, and the weeds grow up and you don't try to maintain anything, and it just gets taken over. But it is a nice space, and maybe it does need to be cleaned up a little bit, especially if we're going to use it for a special purpose. Well, if we're going to use it for a greenhouse, it obviously needs to be cleaned up. But the third strategy for prioritizing Christ is to find a sacred space. Well, you probably wouldn't treat this as very sacred, so you'd clean it up and make it a presentable thing before God. But for that matter, it might be sitting in your tree stand, because I find as much quality time sitting in a tree stand as I do just anywhere else. Maybe it's the corner of your house, the corner room of your house. Maybe it's in your barn. Maybe it's in your old beat down greenhouse. Ultimately, I think God just wants our presence. This temple needs to be clean. We should respect the other temples that we create, but um, he wants this temple to be clean. So creating a sacred space to be with God and to prioritize Christ in Christmas is a good thing. We should have a set aside place to pray and to bring honor before God during this season at all times, but especially this season if we're going to try to, you know, Jesus is the reason, put Christ back in Christmas, all those catchy little things. We can't just say those things. We have to put them into practice. Maybe we can get a little shelter under the porch just to say, hey, wasn't all the chores we got to do. I'm going to have to come back later. But Missy's in a meeting. Madison had to go to school and Millie's down for a nap. So I had to get back to the house quick. So I took care of some priority things and hopefully the other things don't become a priority. But quick little circuit on the chores today. But God bless y'all. Merry Christmas. I love y'all.